The TCX you see in the back there with the 40 millimeter 1.8 pancake here. Uh, this was the first one I picked up. Uh, it's a pretty neat camera. This one works perfectly. Everything's, for the most part. I mean, the light meter is perfect. Shutter speed, aperture, all that controls. The auto exposure, everything works. I did find a little bit of an issue where I think the DX sensor has some type of issue because some let's see, I think it was 800 DX film. It was a Lomography 800 color negative. It basically it wasn't metering for 800. If I switch it over, I could tell that it was metering for a slower ISO film. Sure enough, if I switch it to manually set at 800, it would meter correctly. So I'm not sure if it's the camera, the little connections for the DX sensor or what, but it's not a big deal. I just manually set film speed and no issues. And then it did have a little bit of a light leak, and I resolved that with electrical tape, as you can see right here. So kind of minor issues for a $20 camera. Love the size. It's really compact. It's the size of like my Fuji X100S, which is the kind of digital camera that I've been using lately because I got tired of my DSLR and it's just too much bulk and never took it around, whereas the X100S is tiny, has a great sensor, takes great photos. Similarly, this is a film camera, 35 millimeter, that, in the digital age, full frame, yet it's tiny, lightweight. Actually don't mind the plastic build because it's so light, and with that 40 millimeter pancake, it's a pretty sick little setup. It's not quite pocketable, but you carry it around a hand, don't notice it, throw it in your car, you take it with you. It's not a big deal. If you have a big coat pocket, it would fit. But that kind of got me into it, or back into film. I've shot several rolls through it. I've a lot of stuff developed already, and I'm just digging the look and the colors of color negative film. I just never really shot color film when I learned black and white photography years ago. So that kind of got me back into it. I had actually had that 40 millimeter lens and this 57 millimeter 1.2 that I had adapted to my Sony NEX cameras, which I've sold off. But I felt it made sense to get the camera that they're belong to, and pretty happy with them. This lens is well, I don't know, honestly, both of them wide open aren't super sharp, but they're not they're not brand new optics, but otherwise they're pretty nice. And on film, honestly, they seem sharp enough. If wide open, it seems like I almost want to say they seem sharper wide open shooting film than they do digital. I'm not really sure if that's feasible, but they're pretty nice. I haven't used this 135 millimeter f3.5 yet. It's kind of needed as a little extending hood here. It's similar. It's actually the same build as this 40 millimeter 1.8. This is a slightly older generation of lenses. You can tell this one's all metal and heavier, and it has the different knurling here on the focus ring, whereas this one has this rubber inlet. This is actually rubber right here. This is all metal, but it's still really nice. This one, actually, the aperture ring is metal too, whereas over here on the 40, the aperture ring is plastic. And that brings me to this one right here. This is I guess what would have been called the kit lens for the TCX. It's a 50 millimeter 1.8. I haven't shot with it. This one seems like it's in pretty good shape. This camera, as I mentioned in the other video, unfortunately the light meter doesn't work, but I might give this lens a whirl. But I like the 40 millimeter 1.8. And this is like all plastic, but seems like it's decent enough. The optics seem okay. Time will tell if I shoot with it. But this is kind of like a paperweight camera, unless I shoot it manual. And I did notice something interesting is if you look at these two, this one has a glossy finish here, as this is more matte. Could just be wear, but I don't think that's possible because both of them, like the name and print here, is like perfect without scratching. So I don't think it wore off. I'm thinking Cosina, who actually made these, changed the plastics or something. They have different serial numbers. Hard to tell, but yeah, these are just pretty neat cameras. I'm really digging it. Wish this one had worked. I've been kind of scouring Craigslist and eBay for other cheap ones just because I'm worried if one of them breaks, there's nothing really out there to repair it, and they're too cheap to repair anyway. So, you know, I picked up this for 20 bucks. This one's good. This one was 10 bucks. The light meter doesn't work, but I have two lenses now. And this 135 and this 50, so I don't feel too bad about it. I'm trying to see if I can get some other cheap ones, because it seems like they're sort of disappearing, or people just don't bother to sell them because they just figure they're junk. But I think they're pretty nice cameras. I've looked at the other Konicas and don't really see anything I like other than maybe the FC one. I don't really want one of their old bulky all metal cameras because they're going to remind me too much of my Nikon F2S. So that's kind of just a general rambling about these Konica TCX SLRs and a few of these AR lenses. Thanks.